Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about the movie Freaky, which just came out on Friday the 13th, directed by Christopher Landon. I just watched it last night actually, and I'm going to go into whether you should watch this or not. So a brief synopsis of this movie is that it follows a young high school girl, played by Kathryn, who plays the character of Millie. She doesn't really fit in high school. She's kind of trying to figure out her own identity. She really has no confidence. All she has is her two best friends. Her mother is currently an alcoholic. She's really going through depression because her dad passed away. On the flip side, Vince Vaughn plays the Blissville Butcher, who starts out kind of as an urban legend but proves very quickly that he is very real and present. The movie starts out with 4 high school kids kind of drinking and having fun in a house, and he shows up and wreaks havoc. In that whole scenario, he actually comes across sort of this demonic dagger, and we don't quite know anything about it at all, other than it glows and has these creepy voices come out of it. So that kind of starts off the movie very quick, with some gruesome murders, and then it jumps right into following Millie, kind of setting the tone for her within high school, clearly showing she doesn't fit in. I think it's pretty funny that they pit her as the school mascot for the homecoming game. Just the girl that doesn't fit in, hiding in the mascot suit. You know, people make fun of the mascot. It's a very tragic, and they really hammer in the point that she just does not fit in. She has no confidence, and she really is not comfortable in her own skin to the point where she has to hide in a mascot suit. All right, so as I had mentioned before, you know, her mother has been drinking a lot, doesn't pick her up after the homecoming game, and Vince Vaughn's character shows up, chases her down, attacks her with the dagger, and that's really when the movie gets started. Because of the dagger, they swap bodies, and it turns out that they have 24 hours to get Millie back into her original body before it becomes a permanent thing. And so the movie just kind of follows Vince Vaughn as Millie and the Blissville Butcher in Millie's body. So that breaks down the basic plot of the movie. I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything, but let's get into whether you should watch this movie or not. All right, one of the main reasons that you should watch this movie is because the humor is hilarious, and Vince Vaughn does a fantastic job at playing a young high school girl. And I don't just mean some of the things that you saw in the trailer, like dancing around. He talks in kind of a high-pitched, girly voice, but if you watch, he has these subtle mannerisms, just kind of swaying in his seat, his little ticks, just little mannerisms. He does such a good job of really embodying this high school, not confident girl, and it's absolutely hilarious. And they also throw in plot points where, you know, Millie's trying to figure out what it's like to be this giant 6'4" man with all this strength. And what I think is most interesting about this movie is that it doesn't play on your typical body swap like Freaky Friday or The Change Up, where it's people that know each other and they swap lives, and the movie kind of teaches them lessons to appreciate their own lives. This actually focuses more on confidence, inner strength, and understanding what you actually are capable of as a person. So they play a lot on Millie in Vince Vaughn's body being super tall, strong, obviously a man, and there's some funny elements with that as well, but mostly it's focusing on the fact that she's confident in this body and able to do things that she normally didn't think she could do because she is twice the size that she used to be. So it's a different take on that. And then on the flip side, you have this crazy maniac serial killer in a little high school girl's body, and she encounters some challenges with that, but then also shows kind of in a tongue-in-cheek way of how she can manipulate people in high school. And you know, the movie really doesn't take itself too seriously, which I think makes it more entertaining and more fun with that. And it definitely pokes holes at typical high school stereotypes. They have this over-the-top high school teacher that, honestly, like, if he berated the students that way he does, he would not be a teacher still. But it's just kind of interesting, you know, it really hammers in the point with all of these very stereotypical high school characters, high school teachers, the high school bully, the cool kid, all of that. They kind of throw in these stereotypical archetypes of high school characters to kind of drive in the point. But what really drives the movie is definitely Vince Vaughn. Kathryn Newton does a great job at being scary. Honestly, there's moments where she's pretty intimidating, even being such a small frame, and she really has that death stare that you would never want to be on the other end of. All right, so another reason that you'll definitely enjoy this movie is because it is rated R. Christopher Langdon is famous for his R-rated humor. He holds nothing back with that. He also goes into a very violent take on it. So if you are not used to seeing violence or gore, you might want to skip this movie. They have a lot of it. The deaths are pretty gruesome. I really liked a couple of them. They're pretty imaginative, and they hold nothing back with the gore. So if you want that, if you're looking for kind of a scary movie with a lot of violence and gore, it's R-rated, this is great for you. And so with the plot, I feel like it carries itself pretty well. As I had mentioned before, there's a demonic dagger. It kind of forces the point of the body switch. This one's different because it's a man going into a girl's body and then a girl going into a grown man. So I really like the unique take on it. It really is a horror comedy. I wouldn't say this is a fully scary movie. They do have a couple jump scares, so if you are jumpy, you may get scared a little bit, but I definitely wouldn't consider this very scary. It's more humor and action and violence as opposed to like scary movie. So I definitely had a fun time kind of going along with the characters through the story. The pacing is good with the movie, and what I did like, and what a lot of horror movies sometimes are frustrating to watch, is the plot didn't seem to force a direction. I feel like for the most part it made sense. Characters didn't do too many stupid things to kind of force the plot. There were a couple questionable decisions, but for the most part it did make sense, and the characters did make reasonable decisions, so that it didn't seem like you're eye rolling and being like, why would you do that, or anything like that. For the most part, it's believable. Despite being a somewhat predictable movie, the plot really carries itself well, and I feel like it wraps itself up nicely at the end. I did like the ending of the movie, so the plot definitely helped with the movie. All right, so some of the things that I didn't like about the movie is, one, with all body swap movies, I think it's really important to really establish the characters at the beginning before they make the switch, so that you can kind of see the actors acting as the other character prior. I think they kind of did an okay job with Millie's character. The Blissful Butcher, I get it. He basically is a manifestation of Jason Voorhees. I did like the little nods, Friday the 13th and Halloween and some of the classic horror slashers. And he really embodied that. So I got that part, but I feel like Millie could have had a little bit more character development in the beginning, just so that there was more characteristics that Vince Vaughn could have embodied. But he did a great job of embodying the general character, and that's what makes the movie so funny, is his delivery on that. I think another thing that disappointed me a little bit is the movie starts off with a bang, and I think some of the kills were pretty creative. I really like that, but I feel like later on through the movie the creativity stopped a little bit, and the violence wasn't as unique, and I thought it was going to continue to kind of build on it and have more creative deaths and things like that. So that part was a little bit disappointing. But overall, the violence delivered, it's very gory. You definitely get blood everywhere, everything like that. So you won't be disappointed there. But I thought, based on the beginning, they may have had more creative deaths later on. So that part was slightly disappointing, but I wouldn't steer you away from the movie just because of that. If you go into this movie expecting this to be groundbreaking or really change the genre of the body swap, then you'll probably be disappointed. I think it sticks close to heart with the general movies. It does take a slightly different take, like I said, on focusing more on the inner person, the characteristic of the confidence and the inner strength. They really harp on that part, but it really doesn't make any leaps and bounds for the genre. But what it does is it does that very well. And I think Vince Vaughn kills it in that role, and without him it probably would have fallen flat. So with all of those movies, the actors portraying the other character is so valuable, and so Kathryn Newton and Vince Vaughn both did a really good job at portraying the other character. All right, overall, so should you watch this movie or not? I would definitely recommend you watch this movie. I was laughing quite a few times. I was very engaged with it. I thought it was very entertaining. The actors do a great job, and the plot and action are very interesting, so I really liked it. It didn't try to change the genre or do anything groundbreaking, but it just nailed the genre very well and did exactly what you expected it to do. Alright, that wraps up today's video. I appreciate you watching it. If you did like it, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you leave any comments below, I'd be happy to respond. I would love to talk about your take on the movie or any questions or thoughts you have about it. If you have any suggestions for future movies you want me to do videos on, please leave a comment below. Thank you again for stopping by and have a great day.